Hey everyone, episode 29, Talkin' Shop with Outlier Firefighters. I am Alex Tanner, and I am here with FCG himself. First episode of 2024, Frankie Contreras-Gomez. Frankie, thanks for coming on. I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's quite an honor to be on this podcast with you, and just talking shop.
Yeah, there we go. Boom.
Plug.
We're already plugging it. Well, we're already on it, so it's kind of, but whatever.
Yeah.
A little background of Frankie and I before I get into his background. Him and I worked together for a number of years. Probably almost all of my time in Antioch. I think you only got hired a handful of years after me, maybe two.
Like two or three, I think.
We went to paramedic school together, and we were both lieutenants together for a long time too. Taught. I went back and taught at their training academy with Frankie a couple years ago too. So if you guys are into training, if you're into taking care of people, development, you're in for a great show because that's what Frankie's all about. So we'll get to him, and I'll stop talking, which is the best part of the show. So Frankie, first exposure to the fire service of any kind.
Any kind? All right. So I'm gonna go way back. So back when I was a kid, in ESL classes actually, I there's a vivid memory that the adopted firefighter things that we have nowadays, or during October you have that fire prevention week, all that. It sticks to my brain that these firemen, for me they were the paramedics. I didn't know they were together. They came to the school and just kind of showed us around. They brought the fire trucks, the ambulances, and to me, here's a little like soapbox type deal, but I was newly to this country, and to see something like that, it was otherworldly, I guess. It was something pretty cool to see. I would never imagine that's possible. So they kind of like showed us around. They were super cool, super nice, and since then I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Later on, I worked at Six Flags as a lifeguard, and that's kind of like I started talking to EMS people, the firemen that they work part-time there, and they kind of instilled that passion in me to go pursue that career. So I guess that's in combination the earliest aspect of the fire service in my life.
Very cool.
Pretty
So
cool.
how old were you?
I came when I was 7. I was around 8 or 9
Okay.
when that happened, and I still remember because I was trying to communicate what is this, what is that, and with the few words I had in my English language, it was difficult, but it was fun.
Yeah,
So
you mentioned ESL, and for people that don't know, that's English second language.
English second language,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. So obviously it's an awesome story coming to the country and learning something new, and then finding something as cool as public safety like right away. I mean,
Right.
And I think a lot of people like find it in the EMS world because it's more prevalent. Like you're more likely to encounter that.
Yeah.
But then you find your way in, and what was your first exposure to the fire side of things then? Was it through Antioch when you got hired?
Um, I would hear when I worked at Six Flags and EMT as well. So a lot of them are firemen, a lot of Waukegan firemen, a lot of great guys, Gurney firemen, so on and so forth. So they kind of would talk about work, about the jobs they got, and I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, or tell me more about that. So I kind of got exposure secondhand there. Like I did my ride-alongs at Antioch and the medic side. That's when I started seeing the actual hands-on exposure to the fire side. And I remember you might both used to work there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I would work out. I was doing a paramedic ride-along. I think it was Station 3 at the time. And I just was working out by myself on the bay floor. And I grabbed hoses, a hose pack, a hotel pack, not knowing whose it was. So I'm like, oh, I'll grab it and go up down the stairs, not thinking. And the fire guys caught me doing that, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was supposed not to touch your stuff. And it was super cool. They were more or less like, no, man, keep going. And they would just stare at me. And then the invite happened of, hey, you want to come train with us? I'm like, can I? They're like, yeah, come play, pretty much. And from there on, it was a new experience and something I fell in love with.
Yeah, and for context, at that time, for our department, the rescue squad and the fire department were split. So it was kind of a weird. It was a weird dynamic, right? Yeah. So to get invited over to the fireside, a lot of the younger guys were a lot cooler about that. I think than some of the older guys were at that point, but it was a different dynamic for that. So to get called over is pretty cool.
Right. It was just me just doing my thing, just working out, trying to get a little stronger there because I think right after high school it was a solid 103 pounds. So
yeah, well, we're gonna definitely talk about that. Yeah, and we'll talk for sure about fitness and everything later. Like, and we'll save it for that. But yeah,
later on.
Yeah, we'll get to it because I love talking about. Frankie's half my height, and he can probably outlift a lot of the things from me. I mean, dude, it's pretty awesome. But we'll kick back. So we kind of covered a little bit of your career path when you got in. So talk about kind of, let's say now you're hired, you're on Antioch, you're fire, and you're working through the medic side of it. Talk from there to now where you're at.
So. Sure. When I started at Antioch Fire, I kind of overlapped the fire academy and paramedic school. So as soon as I got my medic, I got my fire. They were kind of pretty close to each other. And in my mindset, at that time, I was working the privates. I was working EMS at Flag. So I gravitated more towards the EMS side. And, back then, I was younger. It was somewhat intimidating to, do fire things. I don't know why now that. Thinking back at it, I'm like, what the hell? It's the fun part, right? Went through fire academy. A lot of the guys there kind of took me under their wing, and I think it was my first structure fire when I'm like, all right, okay, I'm in, right? Yep, did my medic, got my fire cert. After that, a couple years into 2 years into it, I took my advanced class, and that kind of open my eyes up a little bit more, realizing that there was more than just a basic company, basic firefighter or just firefighting. I learned that there was different things like ropes, dive. Whatever you could imagine, it's in the fire service. And I think that advanced class is what really opened my eyes to those little branches that you could take. So from there, I took some rope ops class. That was pretty fun. It was cool. Started taking classes here and there, leadership, different techniques, like the nozzle forward that you were that we talk about. Classes like that, how to better your craft. And I haven't stopped since, I guess you can say. And now I took my COFO 3 years ago, and now I'm going to try to take the advanced part of it and see where it takes me. I got my dive like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So like you say, like I said, it's branches, yeah. And I like to dip wherever I can.
And you've been a company officer for how long now?
Oh, about 5 years almost. I want to say.
Nice.
I mean, when I think we were close when you worked with us.
I want to say that you and I got promoted in the same batch.
Like same batch or around the same time. So. Yeah. I'm bad with time frames. I'm bad with time. So whenever you got around that hired, that's when I was.
Yeah. Okay. And then I know a little bit of your dynamic, but do you act up now as from company officer to shift commander?
I do act up. At first it was intimidating. It was more of a don't shoot me, whoever hears it, was more voluntold type deal.
Sure.
But it's a good challenge. It was a good challenge and still is. You learn every day. And I got a lot of good mentors there helping me out. Our battalion chiefs, Chief Duchesne, Chief Taylor, Keith, and above, right, our fire chiefs, our administration are always there to help. So, and then people from other fire departments that you make connections with, you sit down, catch up and somehow end up talking about work, and there you go. They give you some advice too. So I've been doing that like 3 years, or around there, maybe more. I'm not sure, but it's fun. It's a new challenge, a different experience, and to be young and doing that, it's it's cool, I guess.
Have you been IC of a like a major incident, like a fire yet?
I don't want to say major, smaller fires,
Sure.
car accidents. I
Yeah.
guess more bigger car accidents, yes.
Yeah.
Um, as far as the big one,
Not
not
yet.
yet.
Not yet.
Yeah,
I just
knock on
jinxed
wood.
you. Sorry.
Yeah, thanks a lot. But I think with the trainings that we've done, that the mentorship, the help that is coming in and that is already there, I should be fine. It's just
Good.
gonna be nerve wracking. That whole all prep moment, and then take that deep breath, step back, analyze, and go.
Yeah.
So, but knock on wood, that's not gonna be for a while, right?
Well, you never
But
get to choose when
yeah, that's
when it
what
happens. So
that's what knocked on wood.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's supposed to help.
So you get brought in to the organization, and then is that kind of where you learned about firefighter culture and values? Was it on the job? Was it person to person? Did you read about it? How did you find out about like firefighter culture?
D all of the above.
Okay.
So, like I said, going back at Flag, I go back to Six Flags. That's where it all started, I
Yeah.
think, for me. There was guys that I've worked with, like, and you guys might, some may be watching, some not, Mike Wolches,
Yeah.
Adam Slade, Brad Edwards, who just passed away. Those guys kind of like took me under, and many more, right? Sorry if I didn't mention your name. There's just a lot that hand in that. Just by talking to them, interacting, they kind of instilled little tidbits of that culture, that whole brotherhood type deal, that what the job entails. That's where it started. And then when I went over to got hired at Antioch, it's where it really I was engulfed in it. I know you and I spoke just in passing. I call it the in betweeners. I feel like our generation are in between the older and the younger, so we kind of get to see the older aspects of the fire service, the culture, and the newer that's coming up. So I think that's pretty cool that we can find a way to blend the worlds together and make it better, I guess, for the
Yeah.
future. Um, Books, great resources. There's a new training program at our fire department for acting BCs. So there's a lot of books that we've been reading about leadership, culture, so on and so forth.
You know any
And
off the top of your head?
uh, like turn the ship around. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing blanks.
It's your ship.
It's your ship is
It's
another
yeah.
one. It's your ship. Uh, five leadership styles, like different things like
Good.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and there's a lot more, right?
Oh
I
yeah.
like to listen to them. So if you guys don't like reading, like I hate reading, you could get audiobooks, work out, listen to a good book, and you take a lot from it. So
Yeah.
I think I think those things put together it's what built that culture and or that just experiencing the fire service in itself and just hanging out, I guess, with your brothers and sisters or your coworkers, right? That in itself is building on that as well.
Have you felt? I know your organization's very young. So have you felt a transition where now, obviously we're always all learning, and you're always learning about being a firefighter. But have you felt a transition towards now where you're the one that's setting the tone for this is our culture, these are our values, and you're teaching now the next generation? Has that happened to you yet?
I guess as far as felt it, I didn't realize it was happening. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it just one day it dawned on me like, holy crap, we're it now. It's our turn to instill this culture, instill these values, and we are, I guess, to make it or break it, right? We could make it a super positive, fun, learning experience and fun place to work or not. And I think it starts with us to make it a little bit better for the future, or better for the future, not even a little. But it's not just me, right? It's all of us in the fire service or in our organization to make that happen. So didn't notice it, but yeah, we're there.
Yeah, and it just
I'm there.
yeah.
Got caught in the middle.
Sometimes you don't get a warning.
No, it just happens.
Yeah, so little side funny story to transition to our next thing. So
Cool.
unrelated to like leadership, I guess necessarily, and like culture. my organization, we're having one of our guys is going to retire. I think his 2 days from now is his last shift. You know, he's been there for almost 30 years, like long time, right? And I got hired at 28, which at the time was young. And now, like, we have such a big turnover. We're hiring guys at 21, 22 years old, right, that are way, way younger than me. So I'm already not young there. I'm 33 now. And we go to one of our nursing homes, and we're going to take care of a patient. And it was kind of an all-hands thing because it ended up being a fall with a little more trauma involved. But whatever. We had enough crews. And we're going in to help, and it's me and this older guy who's you know, going to retire soon, and his name's Mike, and he's awesome. He's super nice with people. And Mike and I might as well have not even been there. The old lady turns, looks at two younger guys, and goes, "Oh, such handsome young men here to help me." And Mike elbows me, and he goes, "See, it hurts, doesn't it? Once they stop looking at you, and you're the old guy, come on. Join me over here on this side." I'm like, "I'm not even that old, Mike." He's like, "Nope, you don't get to choose. It just hits you. One day, you're irrelevant at that point." But
you're the old guy one day.
But one day, you're the person that's going to be building the culture, right? One day, you're the one that it's your responsibility, right? And you don't know it until you're in it. So it's cool that you're living that, right? And owning up. And now, you know, it's your turn to set the not the tone, but I guess set the tone. And Jay, no, KH is not retiring yet, as far as I know. But maybe you could convince him. I'll get in trouble for that one. So let's go to our question. So getting, you know, talking about you and the way that you deliver training and how you're involved with it. We could talk about training for hours, and believe me, I'm not stopping you. But I think the focus we should start with is delivering training for a variety of backgrounds and age groups, right? So it's one thing I've seen you do very well, and I know it's one thing that you've talked to me about wanting to share your insight to that. So when you approach a drill and you have a variety of experiences and age groups, how do you handle the drill?
The drills, it's so I take it more of a fluid path, right? You got objectives you got to meet. You want to, let's say it's drafting, you got to make the draft happen, right? I feel that, or that what I've seen succeed with the, you know, from the older crew to the younger crew, because our organization has a lot of younger people too. We have 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. And I hear nowadays a lot about the cultural differences and how to encompass it all. And that's something that I think we've been struggling with. Everyone's been struggling with, to how to get everybody under the same umbrella 100%. But ways that we've mitigated that is, it's kind of like slow it down where we need to, and kind of touch on the basis, break it down a little bit more. I feel that firemen are more hands-on anyway. We tend to learn by doing, and a lot of the times the instruction verbal, okay, here's how you do it, now do it, it doesn't work as well. And even if you know you've done the drill 100 times, you could still break it down and do the steps, put it all together by the end. Everyone will benefit from it, from the younger to the oldest, and then not just do the dry drills, make fun drills, right? I like doing a quick little drill with the newer guys. Is get your gloves on. Oh, I can't move it around. All right, here's some screws, here's some nuts, here's some bolts. Let's put them together. Let's have a race. Or I don't know if you know the Jenga, to learn your extrication equipment, right? Play Jenga with that. Make it fun. Make the trainings pertainable to what you're trying to accomplish, but add that little fun component to it. And I think everyone enjoys that. So, and then just don't I don't want to, how do I word it? Don't talk down to people, right? Even if the newer guys or different generation or whatever, just treat them like one, welcome them in, and if they screw up, let them own it, and then don't belittle them. Just go back and let's try it again. Let's do it right this time. Yeah. So just from something on those lines.
What would you say the major difference is in the delivery from, let's say, a 15 to 20 year firefighter versus a less than a year, 2 year firefighter? What would be the major difference in the deliveries of those?
Um, I think I don't want to say like angrier or more stern with older, because everyone can mess up in something anytime. We're all human. I just think you just gotta be honest, concise, and direct to it. Right? Hey, you messed this up, dude. Um, maybe a little bit more colorful at the heat of the moment. Right? We're all passionate about what we're doing. However, just let them know straight up. Don't try to sugarcoat it. I know a lot of people think, oh, we got to sugarcoat for the new generation, so on and so forth. You really don't. You just gotta be straight up with them. Hey, man, you messed this up, right? Do you recognize that you messed it up? Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they honestly didn't know they messed up, and that's when you gotta go in. This is why you messed up. This is why this is important. This is where it encompasses in everything. Let's do it again. Let's do it right. Let's get it. Let's do it till we do it right,
Yeah.
even if it takes a bit longer. So that's how I learned, at least when I first started. So repetition and reps.
Yeah, have you seen a? I feel like the fire service as a whole is kind of culturally changing, where mistakes aren't a thing that people are necessarily hammering everyone for in training. It's more about growth. Have you seen a shift in that, where people are more open to their faults and making mistakes in training? Are you seeing a shift in that?
I think, as far as people owning their mistakes, is that where you're referring? Yeah. I think that the the first training where you talk to them like, hey man, own that mistake. And when you get the new guy come in and whatever, ask questions, own your mistakes. I'd rather you tell me that you made a mistake than hide all that stuff and try to hide it. It's gonna come out eventually, right? So if you kind of instill that culture, right, like we were talking about, of owning your stuff, or if you make a mistake, own it, fix it. It later on sticks with that individual, and throughout their career, I feel that if they do mess up, they're more comfortable coming out like, messed up. How do I fix it? So I guess you can say yes. It's just part of that culture thing that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
If you have a culture that you're training in, no matter what, guy A is gonna yell at you regardless. You're not gonna want to train at all. You're not gonna want to do the drill with that person or whatever. So they give you. I don't want to say, oh, positive environment, but yeah, it's somewhat like that. Make it somewhat positive, make it fun, and as long as you, like I said, hit your objectives, hit the drill, do what you got to do, but make it in a positive way, in a fun learning for everyone.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel? And I'm all about it. I agree. I agree that people are more invested in it when they feel like they're part of it and that they feel comfortable. How would then you suggest adding stress, adding training for the job related stress then that comes with that?
So like when we begin, like, let's say you're teaching a new guy something new, first time we're gonna do search is gonna be controlled. Not, I don't want to say easy, but very basics, right? After a while, you do that drill, they've done it a couple of times. But what I like doing is using technology to my advantage, darken them out, smoke them out with the smoke, fake smoke, and then I like to play like baby noises, random like weird noises on the speaker, and I know that's not 100% accurate, but it's that fireground background noise that I like to add into it, because once they get into that fireground, they know that background noise it's nothing. It's just background noise at that point. Because at first it could be very intimidating. It could be very overpowering. A lot of stimuli, I guess.
Yeah.
Stimulus.
You're there.
A lot of stimulus, right? Yeah. You guys get what I'm saying. But little things like that, adding it, force entry door, not just one lock. Make it 3 locks. Make it a little bit harder in training, so that in real world, it's somewhat easier. And throwing little curveballs. Oh, by the way, it's two doors, so now you gotta do a force inward, outward, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like, add little things like that. Make it fun, right?
Yeah.
Make it a race. Let's see who forces the store faster. Whoever does doesn't have to do dishes. I don't know, something like that.
Do you find that that competition helps with training?
Absolutely, and it's gonna be that friendly competition, right? You know, a little bragging rights here and there, but you know, you could make sure you tone it down, but or not, but whatever.
So
It's fun to.
yeah, what do you do as a company officer to keep it from becoming negative and keep it as friendly or constructive
um,
competition?
I joined a group and I tell him if I beat you, then
Yeah,
this old guy, um, and and going from there. But no, I think everyone kind of knows not to take it too far. And again, with that culture, I keep going back to that culture thing. But if you instill that in the beginning, we're all here to learn. We're all here to work together. Shoot, we live with each other a third of our lives. You don't want to make it hell for you then. So you know, treat each other with respect. Little competition here and there is great, I think, um, and just go from there. What I do is it's just that I take part in the trainings, and if I do notice anyone's taking it too far, pull them aside like, bro, you're taking it too far.
yeah,
It's cool, brag, just chill. And it sometimes you just need that little. They need that little like moment of, all right, chill, because maybe they don't, like I said, they don't realize it,
yeah.
right? Some of us are more competitive than others, myself included. So
I
we
feel
gotta
it.
we gotta tone it down. But no, I think it's awesome. That's a very rare instance. Most of the time, it's positive, friendly competition, friendly bragging, and you get the training done in a fun way. So
Yeah, I'm going to turn Dan Frank's uh, statement that or comment that he put in here into a question because I think that there's some meat on the bone there, Dan. So thanks first
Dan
off for
Frank, hi.
throwing a comment, and then Tim Wood, thanks from Rochester, New York. That's cool. And Dan saying, always a fan of curveballs, but it's very easy to spiral into like an absolutely ridiculous and unnecessary situation. So how do we as instructors create a drill that does have curveballs, but then do you find yourself having to edit yourself? How do you keep it where it's not ridiculous? You know what I mean? Where now you've lost the instructor.
Sure. We've instructed together, and when I like have drills or host drills, I like to show it to someone else. I like to show it to another officer or some other instructor. What do you think about this? Or too much, too little? And then not only that, but I'll trust a senior firefighter. Like, hey, come here. What do you think about this? And I think the senior firefighter or that firefighter you ask is the more of a better gauge. They're more like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I wouldn't have thought of that, or like, too much. We got calls or we got this going on today, right? And that's because a lot of times when you're building a training plan, your mind can keep going and you just get excited and you write it out and you think it's awesome, but I think it's just that show it to someone else. This is what I got. What do you think? And bounce back ideas because maybe you missed something. Maybe they got a better idea. Maybe you want to change your training for that better idea. And the cool part is maybe you want to take that instructor role and put it to that senior firefighter because they got something. Let's see them spread their wings. You lead the training, right? And then you train that into a mentoring training moment for them, and then they themselves feel important in the drill. They feel invested. Therefore, they're going to do much better.
Yeah. Do you guys do off duty trainings that you put together? Um,
Not as often as I'd like. We used to do a lot of it. I know you remember Tuesday night trainings.
yeah.
Um, uh, However, we still have off duty trainings. We have what we have in our organization, Saturday hot drills. It's more during the summer that people will come in, right? It's a little nicer weather, more drills that we can do. I think that's where we get our more people come in. If we are having something bigger, like let's say we just had we tried ice rescue or diving stuff we had. We put it out on the email. Hey, whoever wants to get time on this, come on in, and you'll have people still coming in, and doing some trainings there. So I think if you open it up to everyone, just shoot it out there, shoot trainings out there. You'll be surprised who bites and comes in.
When you develop those, what are some like key differences between shift training and off duty training that you put together when you plan those things?
So I plan when we plan those trainings. Like I said, I bounce it off in ideas. I have like a duty crew portion of it, and then a little bit more extensive for the people that are off duty. It's like more of a blended thing. That way, if the station one, station two gets a call, they could just drop and go, and then we pick up from when they're at. So we kind of just keep in mind who's on shift. Obviously, we'll cover where we can, right? Off duty people, hey, do you mind running a call if, let's say for example, a diver, right? Like diver is on shift, is under the water. You're not gonna have him pop up. Someone that's off duty or another station can take that call, and I think everyone's in our organization is pretty open to that. Very
Yeah.
open, like, yeah, I'll run that call, come back and finish up the training, so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
I guess we haven't really found struggles in that. Just getting that buy-in again is the continuous battle, right? We all have lives, we all have kids. I think that's just across the board right now, and we'll find a better way to do it. We always can.
Truth there, man. I should say, anyone that's leaving comments or anything, I try to remember to say something in the beginning, but ask questions. You're completely encouraged to ask questions, and anything, or if you know Frankie and you've got a story, something significant, like that people would find value in, that you would want to remind them of to share. Feel free to ask and put it in there, and we'll talk about it. So. But that being said, we're going to move on to another thing, and we probably will touch back on training again because it's you and me, and that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. But
Yeah.
Like I said, was trying to leave some meat on the bones, talking about changing techniques for your body type, right? So Frankie, how tall are you?
5'6" with boots on.
5'6" with boots, and I'm 6 foot, and I remember when we would teach ladders, like I would teach ladders a certain way, right? And I would find that the techniques that I taught people did not always work because people, and I'm not like, LeBron height or something, but like I'm, taller, I guess.
You ain't short.
But I'm not short, right? And Frankie would come around and I would watch you throw ladders different than me and excel, right? Because you're shorter than me. And, I watched you throw a 35 by yourself, for God's sakes. Like, but the only way that you figured that out was learning how to do techniques for your body type. So if you could share some of that and talk about it and how you've adapted things over the years.
All right. So, like I think I mentioned earlier, I was really light when I started the fire service. I'm Hispanic, so we're not very tall, right? Start out with, so I won that genetic pool right there. But no, started light. So first and foremost, the physical fitness is important, right? I learned that early on. I think the first time it really hit me is when I opened up a 2.5-inch hose and really felt that sucker kick me back, and that's when a couple guys took me in and like, all right, time to put some meat on those bones and get in the gym. Step number one is physical fitness overall, not just for strength, but for endurance and for yourself, right? You want a long, healthy career, so do it for yourself, if anything. Now with the height and little things like that, I used to stink at. That's funny you mentioned ladders. I was terrible at them when I first started. It took, God knows how many days of me just trying to move that ladder around and just keep throwing it until I found different techniques that work best for me. And then throughout the years, kind of like, fixing little things here and there and then passing it on. I think I started noticing that, yeah, like you said, people accomplished the goal through the ladder. No problems there, but everyone kind of did it a little different way. And that's kind of what got me into like, there might be something to this. So every time we teach ladders, I like different instructors, right? Different heights, different different builds. Because yeah, for a tall guy that's 6 foot something, all muscle, boom, throw it like nothing, right? It's super simple. And then the newer people or the people that are there see that and like, oh, I want to do it that way. It's not working. And that's where I could come in as like, it's not working because we're different body types, dude. It is what it is. And I like to teach, it's body mechanics. Find that center of gravity. Your center of gravity might be a little different than mine, so on and so forth. And find that way that works for that person, and then tell them, remember how you did this. Now do it 1,000 more times and tweak it so it's perfect for you. and then in turn they could teach someone else and go from there. It's not just with ladders. It's advanced and hose. It's all the aspects of the job, right? Different body types. We all come different sizes. Doesn't mean you can't do it, right? You just gotta adjust your technique. I don't know if you watched SpongeBob growing up. I just remember always technique, 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 and that always comes in my mind. Like that whole episode of it's all about technique and some strength. So
It's a true, and there's certain things like I'm. It's easier for me to throw a high shoulder ladder than it probably would be for you, because the second I start to drop the ladder, I'm already above the balance point for the most part, right? My
all about
shoulder,
pop,
yeah, where I don't even have to pop
right?
necessarily, but like
But that's
you
what I'm
you
saying.
would have to pop.
That's where little things come in, right? Like, hey, he does it this way, works great. Try it. Doesn't work, try this. Boom, try the pop. That works better for you. Perfect, and move on from there. So, I think it's just this tweaking things, just finding how it works best for every individual.
So did you just discover those little like nuances, and then you said you took it upon yourself, which is the real lesson here. You took it on yourself to go out and practice different things. But um,
I
what was
think
your
that
process then for tweaking things?
it's just how again the culture, right? Like you see that those guys coming in and they would see me training by myself because I go out there and just go out there till it's dark out, right? They hey, dinner's ready. Hold on, 10 more, give me 5 more minutes, and that started making how people gather around one person training or something. Then oh, try this, try that. I think it started there, and just different people coming in with different ideas, and me trying those different ideas, and like, but if I tweak it like this or or do this a little bit different, take that core idea and tweak it, it works better for me. So I can't take all credit for by myself. I didn't invent a new way of
Sure.
throwing ladders or anything. It's just I think it's more of people coming in, putting their input and helping you out, right? Trying to get you better, and then you taking that and then doing reps on it. Try it 10 times that way. It doesn't work as much as you like it. Try it 10 times another way, and then go from whatever. Find which way is better for you, and keep going from there. So that's why I did it, and that's how I still do it.
Yeah. Did you feel like you took to truck work or engine work easier?
Truck work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's just because of when I first started it, the group of guys that I gravitated more towards, like Orion, Elkin, you, all those guys, kind of gravitated towards that way. All encompassing, right? You guys, everyone did everything, but I think we had during the trainings more fun, forcing doors and cutting stuff and doing searching and stuff like that. I think those are the trainings that I had more fun with, that I felt were more fun, that I gravitated towards more. And even nowadays, even yesterday, when we were doing some, I don't know what we were doing. You're like, don't you wish we were full time truckies? I'm like, dude, that'd be so much fun. So,
Dude, honestly, I'm a better engine ops. I'm a better hose jockey. I've learned this and I've come to terms with it. There's something romantic about truck work. I get it, like smashing holes and breaking through things and search. I mean, I can talk about search all day. And the VES, all about it. But I've really found out the more and more classes I've taken that I'm better at engine work. I don't know
right.
what it is, but
And again, and especially nowadays, you got to do a little bit of everything.
yeah.
So, I
Yeah,
don't
well,
want to,
for our kinds of departments, right, where there
right.
is no specialized
Sure, like art, we got
apparatus.
to do a little bit of everything and get good at all of it. So, but what do I guess the question is what I like more is truck work.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's fun.
Um, have you, as you've gone through your career, have you changed your physical fitness approach? Like, I know when we would all work out together, a lot of what we did was more, and I don't know how else to phrase it other than bro lifting, but that's pretty much what we did, right? Like we put on mass and we pretty much did 8 reps, and I don't think those treadmills ever moved. And what I'm not knocking anyone if that's
No.
your style of workout. That's all great, but do you? And if you still do that, I'm sorry if I just made fun of it, but
I'm offended.
I know. Have you adjusted things over time? Have you changed your approach to fitness?
Yeah, absolutely. I think early on, like you said, I was just trying to gain mass, and and get huge, right? I think we said get gains all the time. Gains day, gains, right? I think as and I don't think I'm old, but as I got older, I think that cardio started being more important in my life. I think early on I was always a soccer player. I wrestled during high school, so I came in with that cardio, that conditioning into the fire service, and that was more second nature. And as soon as I started gaining mass and so on and all that, right? Lifting heavier, doing that, I felt my cardio going down. So I had to tweak things into putting cardio back in it because I wasn't playing soccer as often. I wasn't wrestling anymore. So that switched my whole thinking to where I do now. What I like to do is a push, pull, legs, cardio, and that's just I think it encompasses everything overall, and it's worked great for me. And I don't feel winded. I don't feel tired physically either as much as I used to before when I can't focus on just one or the other.
As a company officer, how do you approach training with your, or sorry, fitness with your crew?
Uh, get your stuff done. I like to do 3 o'clock workouts at work, and I like to get us all together. I got one of my guys. Shout out to Ryan Day. He likes to beat me to it because I like to drink my pre-workout, so he's out there already getting started. But I think working together, working out together, that in a sense makes not only builds camaraderie, gets you closer, but you guys are working out together. I feel like that makes you live harder and keeps you in check, right? We've all been there that we're working out and then we find ourselves scrolling for another solid 10, 20 minutes. Whereas if you get your whole crew together, hey, get off the phone, funny name here, insert name here. Let's get back to it. And that I think that just makes it better.
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
And making fun of it. Oh, you really need that?
What'd you say?
Make fun of people eating ice cream right before working out. Oh, you really need that?
Yeah, dude. Firemen and their ice cream. I'm as guilty as any. Try to.
Oh, the Dairy Queen, man.
Well, yeah, at least more context. And I'm sorry that Frankie and I mean, we're old friends, so we're gonna shoot the shit about some of this stuff. But there was a Baskin Robbins across the street from the fire station, walking distance. It was brutal. We'd go over there every night, no question. And then we used to go to the Dairy Queen too to go show off the engines. Every night, I think we went and got ice cream. Like it was
Pub Ed. It's a great.
It was Pub Ed, yeah. But when that Baskin Robbins was across from the station, it was. Now it's a Dunkin' Donuts, so that's also bad because everybody goes over and gets coffee.
Morning coffee, man.
It's so easy.
Yeah, then you're $10 in, and every day you're like, okay, I gotta
back off on this. Yeah,
but yeah.
Speaking of diet, what's your shift life dieting like? What's your with your crew and meals and that kind of stuff? Do you have any influence over what gets eaten with your crew members?
Last couple weeks we haven't been as good. I will admit, but I think now we're back in it. Yeah, we kind of like I don't want to say influence, but we use bounce back ideas. Hey, let's like yesterday. Let's try to eat healthier again. A lot more chicken, so on and so forth. Right, lighter meals, but good calorie dense meals. Chicken, some potatoes, stuff like that. And I think overall, in the at least. At our organization, we like to eat healthier. A lot of us are like you said, we're younger, and even the older people like eating healthier. So I think our meals overall are somewhat in the healthy side, regardless. There summer days you want to eat your brats and burgers. That's totally fine. But I think that's when people have their like chicken and rice lunches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One thing I will add that we do like to do together is eat together regardless. I think every station across the board is 6 o'clock is dinner time. We all like to sit down and eat. So I think that's huge too.
Do you guys cook most meals?
Lunches I think are more hit or miss just because it's in the middle of the day. Some people bring leftovers. I like I cook at home and bring my leftovers. But dinner, we'll cook together. for the most part, except the last couple of weeks. Like I said, before
Dude,
the New Year, we were bad.
I get it. There's some shifts where you don't have a choice. You just have to eat something. You know what I mean? And
I
it is what it
found
is.
out, yeah, I found out that there was an adult Happy Meal, so I just had to try this thing
Oh,
last week.
listen, dude.
Yeah.
My kids love McDonald's, and it's brutal
Oh my,
smelling that stuff. Nobody's perfect,
yeah,
man. I break too. All right, it's nobody's perfect.
yeah, but no, eating healthy, we'll sit down and do a plan and let's do this, do this, do that. And I think it's the one of the first things you talk about in the morning anyway. What's for lunch? What's for dinner? Right? And I think that's where it starts. And then you want to take it a step further. Let's plan the whole week out. I
Yeah,
know we were really good at that at one point. Is planning your whole week out. Hey, you're cooking this day. Do this, and then take turns doing that.
yeah,
So
yeah. Um,
and tacos. Everyone likes the tacos.
dude. Oh man, I made carnitas last night, or yeah, last night I was on shift. Yeah. Oh, oof. I ate way too much. Not good. That's one thing that I will never stop eating unless someone drags me away from the table.
We like our foods.
Uh,
Like, yeah.
um, so brotherhood's a topic that comes up everywhere in the fire service right now, right? And you get it from what most people would say is it's dead or that it doesn't exist anymore or these kids these days, you know, and then you'll get pockets of people that go, no, it exists, we have it. Um,
Mhm.
if you could share some anecdotes on brotherhood, what it means to you, what you do on a regular basis to help protect it and keep it, and kind of like your state of what you notice, not just in your own organization, but maybe other firemen that you talk to
Sure.
about brotherhood in the fire service.
So what it means to me is family. I'm gonna go like Fast and Furious. It's family, right? We're at the end of the day we want to go home to our families, right? But while we're on shift, we're each other's family, and that's who we got. So we gotta watch each other's back. So that's, I guess, in an essence, in a nutshell, that's what it means to me. Um, um, yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of people say it's it's going away or it's really changing. People don't care about it anymore, and to an extent, I get it. I see why people are saying that. Um, you come some people come from the days of no matter what, every Tuesday or whatever day of the week, every fireman was together, right? And that's awesome. I think that's something that is super cool. Listening to the stories that they've had, the people, the older generation, the retired people coming in, right? That's a big thing in the brotherhood. I still recall, Cheese Zakalowski coming in, having his coffee every Saturday morning, and just watching us do that training, those Saturday morning trainings. That's huge, right? To me, that's the brotherhood part. Everyone knows that she wanted his black coffee with a pinch of salt, right? I always had a hot cup of coffee for him. That's brotherhood to me. And I think to keep that alive, we just got to keep doing those things. Come in off shift, come have lunch off shift, come train off shift. And then not only that, get a group of you guys together, your shift. It doesn't have to be an all day thing. Hey, let's have breakfast after shift, right? We've done that a couple times, and that breakfast starting at 7 a.m. turns into oh crap, it's almost lunchtime. You guys want to eat anyway, and then head out, or at least I my shift, and I'm just there's no separations or anything, right? We're a family, we're one firehouse, but I feel that we try to get together a lot once in a while, and it's not just gold or red or black, but we'll get a whole bunch of us. We have a Facebook page. Whoever's free this day, I want to go out to the Station 51, right? Sure, whoever can make it, let's go make it. I've seen posts about, hey, whoever wants to go take a run this day, this time, let's go do that. Little things like that, I think, is what keeps it alive. It may not be the same of every Tuesday night training, but it could be as we're going to work out together. I don't know if you recall, back in the day, we would all try to come and work out together, right? It's something like that. And not everyone has to be there, but if you get like a whole bunch of you guys to do that, have that breakfast, have that workout, have that run, whatever, play that soccer game, right? I'm shooting an idea of during the summer, hey, who wants to kick the ball around, or who wants to play football, whatever. Just have fun with each other. Who wants to go out and have a drink, right? That's I think that's breaking bread and sharing stories, and not only that, but what really stuck with me when I first started is getting to know everyone's significant others, everyone's kids, everyone's moms, dads. I think I think we're trying to bring that back. But it's happening more and more. We just can't let us forget that not just that our family at home is separate from our family in the fire service. I think there's a way to blend it all together. I'm not saying that you equal time, right? Your family at home needs you have responsibilities, but when you have those outings, hey, let's go have a drink. Bring your significant other or breakfast, whatever. Meet us at breakfast. I think that's a great time to get to know each other at a more personal level, and that translates in the job, right? Oh, that Alex's family, got to take care of them. We're going to train better together, make each other better. So I don't know that.
I'm taking notes, dude. That was yeah. Involving families incredibly important, and people would tell you that that's lost out in other places, but there's glimpses of it, and still in the fire service.
Yeah, and I don't think it's lost per se. It's just we gotta keep it alive. I still hang out with and talk to. I know we have a lot of members that have gone away, right, to different states for their career. I like to keep in touch with them. I FaceTime them, different firehouses, right. Had a nice phone call from an ex-partner 2 days ago. Shout out to Brian saying, we talked on the phone. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? And just catch up with that. It's a simple. It doesn't have to be an hour phone call. 5-minute phone call. How's the family? Happy New Year. Go from there. Hang out outside. Like I said, it's hey, you want to come over, have dinner, have tacos, have a beer, right? Doesn't have to have a beer or anything, but anything like that, you could. It's easy. I think we just make it harder than it is.
Yeah. So. Yeah, dude. Sorry,
I talk fast.
No. You're fine. You're fine. I make sure that I'm taking notes. You're hitting the nail on the head. I think people need to hear that. Like, I think that people love to go negative immediately, right? Because it's so much easier to just be grumpy and angry about stuff when it's as simple as breakfast. That could just be the start. Breakfast, right? Doesn't have to be this big elaborate thing. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about one thing that I see in you and that I value exponentially in you, and that is that you value people. And even before you were a company officer, I know that you were very good about making people feel welcome, making people feel like they were valued. Could you talk about that and where you kind of get it from, and then what that's done for you in terms of your relationships and your career?
Sure. So I guess it's funny to hear people mention that, because I don't. It's one of those things that I guess I don't see. I've heard it more than once. Like, hey, you're good with people. To me, I'm like, I can't put a nail on what that is. I just grew up in a big family. On my dad's side. Here too, we're very close, right? We're that typical Hispanic family that will growing up after Sunday after church, we'd go to my aunt's house and have a meal, and we'd just hang out. We still do that. We still try to hang out as much as we can, and I think that whole, it sounds cheesy, but that whole warm feeling is something that it's kind of like with me. I see someone in, I remember, and I think it's just, you got to remember how scary it was. I'm the first one in my family to do anything like this, anything. I'm an immigrant, right? So it's a new experience for myself, my siblings, my parents, right? I'm legal, don't worry. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, so with that with that whole family aspect in the firehouse, I still remember that first day I walked in. It was scary. It's a scary moment. And it took like I didn't know I was supposed to introduce myself and shake everyone's hands. I would just say, "Hey, my name's Frankie." Scared, and this is a little kid, 5'6" with boots on. It's intimidating, and I think I remember that moment, and I don't want anyone to feel as scared as I was. You're gonna be nervous your first day anyway, right? It could be any job or anything. But I think if you just remember how you felt when you first started, and try to mitigate that feeling, that make it a little bit more welcome. I'm not saying comfortable. Don't make the guy feel super super comfortable that they could sit in the chair at 7 a.m. That's totally different. But you can still accomplish the welcoming part of it. Hey man, my name's Frankie. I don't know if you know, but it's really cool if you introduce yourself and shake someone's hand. That way they get to see a face to the name, right? Because a lot of times you just hear a name and that's it. You don't know how they look like. You don't know who they are, and that it's as simple as a handshake. As you initiating that handshake, and then from there they take it on and take that upon themselves. So I don't know how to put it on nail, but I guess it's just how I am. And I feel like it's contagious. So
Yeah.
I do that to someone, and then guess what? That guy's gonna do it to the next new guy, and so on and so forth.
Well, I mean, you've mentioned culture multiple times. Like that's building culture. It's making those little changes, and then the next guy does the same thing because they were treated well, right? You break a cycle of something. Not that everyone was treated like garbage coming in,
No,
but
no.
yeah,
Just a little more welcoming, I guess.
yeah. Do you want to talk some tactics?
Sure. Let's do it.
So one thing I wanted to get into, and I'm sorry it wasn't on the questionnaire, but a lot of people are absolutely clueless with rural water. Okay, and I think it's something that where you work and obviously where I used to work, like we were very good at it, and that area is pretty good at setting some of that stuff up. So for people that don't know about really how basically Quad 2 works in terms of like rig setups and how you guys kind of set up your porta tanks, could you kind of explain some of that? I know this is a total like we just did a hard pivot away, but
yeah, let's do
there's
it.
a lot of people that have absolutely no clue about, and I think it's something that I know you've been on fires, plenty of fires where there were no hydrants and there were pools on the ground.
Hydrant?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And I think a lot of people think once the pools go down, the building's coming down, and I know that that's not always the case. So kind of share some of your insights on rural water and the fire attack.
Sure. I think don't be afraid of drafting as the first thing. Let's say you come from an organization that has hydrants, and you're blessed with that. It's still kind of cool to know how your pump works. It kind of breaks on the pump and know how it works. Know that you can draft with it. I think at first it was scary. The no hydrant, the rural water, until I broke it down in my brain. That it's kind of like this is how my mind works. It's silly, but it's kind of like a Pac-Man puzzle, right? You got to set that pool up in a way that tenders could just make a loop, dump, and go. Make a loop, dump, and go. So I think the district familiarization is very important. Know your target hazards. Know where your water sources are, where you can fill at, and how to work that pump. How to pull a draft. And that goes back to training and just repetition, do it over and over, finding different ways of drafting, how to draft, what level strainer versus a barrel strainer. Those little things that could tweak your rural water is, I think, it's essential for it. And then just training on it, timing. And we started timing ourselves to see how fast we could get that draft, where we can get that draft. Different lakes the chain of lakes is mucky, right? Different chains are shallower or stuff like that. So you learn where the best drafting spot is, and that's just district familiarization, training, and playing with that engine and going from there. And then timing, I think once you start putting a stopwatch to it or timing it, see how long that water lasts or see how much you got on your tank, from just tank water to, you need a draft like yesterday, it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
And I think where it becomes important. But yeah, you just look at your maps, look at your roads, and it sounds morbid, but burn places down in your brain. If I'm burning this house down, I'm on a train on it. Where would I get my water? Where would I put my pool? We were just doing that the other day. We went on a call on very narrow roads that there's no hydrants. Out of Station Three's district, and we sat there for an hour. What do we put it here? What do we, set the pool here and draft from here? Where we put all our rigs? How will we do that loop? That Pac-Man loop is like to call it.
Yeah.
So it's just training, man, and talking about it and being aware of it.
So who calls those shots then? Is that company officers? Is that incident commanders? So who's placing the porta tank? Who's placing the fill site? Who's coming up with the loop? Who's making those decisions?
I think it's incident dependent, right? If you got a newer company officer, they may ask, for help, or hey, what do you think about this command? Whereas someone that's more experienced, like, I'm going to set it right here. Last fire I had that we needed a porta tank. I'm thinking I'm putting it here, and then I see my chief come in with the tanker. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about putting it here. What do you think? Real quick. Oh, just move it over there. It might be a little bit better. Perfect. Let's do it that way. So it's just like that was a sight. Chief, what the heck? Like, okay, you brought the tanker in. But it's just it's fluid, man. It's just if you're the type of guy that's looking at it, and I encourage everyone, if you're on the way to a fire or something, look at a map, look at where the fire, where it's at, and start thinking about those three steps ahead of when you get there. And I think that's where it starts. Me personally, I'll start thinking of if I'm second in or if I'm in a tank or whatever, where I'm going to, put that tank down, that pool down as soon as I show up. So,
do you, your approach to a fire attack, does it change based on porta tank versus positive water?
We always have tank water. It's knowing what vehicle's there and how much water you have. I don't think, as far as the initial fire attack, I don't change it much, right? The goal is life safety first, protecting property, all that stuff. I don't change the initial fire attack first. I'm just more mindful of, I got about 3.5 minutes, or I got about 4 minutes of, decent water before I need a water supply. So you could say that if I know it's going to be raw water, I like to, hey, just be aware, you got 750 gallons in this tank or whatever. And then that's why it's important for an engineer, for you engineers out there, to look at your water level. Hey, you're at 3/4 or 3/4, you're in a half tank. That kind of little reminder to everyone in the fire ground kind of gives the people on the pipe more, okay, I got to apply this water in a smart way instead of just dumping it everywhere, right? So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So.
Dry hydrants. Do you have a lot of them? Are they preferred as part of water supply in terms of fire attack, or what are they primarily used for?
I've trained on them only a few times. But I hate it because it's mucky. It's really tough to get a draft in it. And last time we trained on it, I sucked up fishes all over the pump. So as far as using it on a fire, it's there. It's a tool that you can use. I don't think I personally use one. I've always just opted out to find a water source and just draft from there, like the lake or whatever. If anyone in the that's watching or is watching has experience with that, or how it worked in an actual fire, I'd like to hear from it. Because like I said, I've only done it in trainings using the dry hydrants, and in my experience, there's sediment that builds in the other end of it, and that's what really trips you up. So
we're encouraged to use them because we have a decent amount of them. However, the people encouraging us to use them aren't necessarily in our organization in terms of our policies and procedures, right? So they spent money to put them in, and they maintain them more so than yours. From what I've gathered, they're maintaining them constantly, and we pretty much pull from them once a year, all of them. And there's 13. There's probably more than 13. There's a lot of them. However,
2 or 3 off on the top of my head, but I got to get better at those.
Yeah.
It's just something in my brain, I guess it doesn't hit me until later on, I guess.
So
So
I mean,
that's
I know from being up there that they were unreliable of holding a draft, right? So like, there's people that want to treat them tactically as a positive pressure hydrant, and I mean, would you say that that's a good idea or a bad idea in your opinion? Of basically, there's dry hydrant there, we're going to use that in the way that we would use a regular fire hydrant.
from training with them, I wouldn't, at least at the ones that I've trained on, just because, like you said, the angle has to be kind of like perfect for that, heart suction and little things like that. And it may just be a training issue and something that we got to get better at, or I got to get better at more than anything.
Sure.
But yeah, that's something good to know, something good to play with, and maybe in these next couple months we'll just mess with them a little bit more. I just always in my mind is on a grow of water. I know exactly where the closest, or I know whereabouts the closest water source will be or can be. Let's try that first, and let's just pull that draft. I guess we just, like you said, we train a lot on drafting. That it's just
No, I get it. I get it.
More of a second nature thing, right? Like, let's just pull that draft over there. So,
in terms of, so obviously if a fire goes out, you're using mutual aid. We all are. But obviously for rural water, there's a substantial amount of mutual aid. Is there anything unique about like the setup for some of those tankers that come in? What's
So
the procedure for them? I should say tenders, but we're just call them tankers. We're
I had the privilege of being water supply in one of the fires last year. The privilege. They were I didn't get to play in the fire, man. But it was an eye opener. I think what worked well is setting up where we set out the porta tank and just thinking of the needs in the future. So like I said, I kind of thought 3 steps ahead. The battalion at the time was can we say names? I don't know, like Chief Taylor.
You can.
And yeah. It was really funny because he would call for something and my response was like already on it. It's because it's a lot of needs, right? You need a lot of water. And the way I approach that is big fire, big water. So I had a tanker fill our tanker dump their water. Here's a fill site. Go now. Go set it up. Another tanker came in. I think it was Fox Lakes. They dumped, and then I lined up 2 other tankers just ready just in case, and then just do that loop, and then just strapped it from that tank, send it down ways, and it worked perfectly. We had more than enough water that in the end we ended up dumping probably the whole pool at the end just because we had all the water there. Different. Just know where your water sources is and just create that loop, I guess.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, rural water is a huge topic that I think it's seldom talked about.
I think it just sounds and looks scary.
Yeah.
It can be, but if you kind of like get your mindset of what it is, break it. Like I like to break things down, and I just need a water source, and I need a way to get that water to the fire area, and then go from there. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say easy because that you're gonna hit your there's ice over the everything's frozen over or you're in a mucky area. Just know how your strainers, all that stuff work and go from there.
Yeah.
No equipment.
So taking a shift back from tactics, talking leadership, talking maybe a little bit of training, probably training. So I hate using the term revolving door because it sounds so derogatory, and I don't mean it in that way, but your organization has a lot of turnover frequently, right? As a company officer, how do you approach that in terms of keeping your crew, at a level where they, are ready to perform? It's a unique challenge. It's a unique challenge.
Yeah, sure.
That really doesn't get talked about that much. And what's your approach to that? You're with a different crew almost every day, I think, other than like maybe one guy.
Yeah, so we started a permanent part-time program. It's working well. It's once in every 6 days you have another guy rotate. Station 1's the one that is more with that we may have a brand new crew in the PMs and the AM, except for a couple full-time guys there. Um, how we deal with training is it's something that it's a challenging thing, because there's a point that you always get to I don't want to say advanced level, but a certain level, right? The organization is up here, and then better job, people go out to do their thing, leave their organization, we train up a new guy, and we got to go back to the basics. What I found that works very well, and this is just something that I like doing. Let's say we're going over, for example, forcing a door. We break it down to the basic level for those newer people that are just, they're learning for the first time or after the academy. However, you can still make it into a more advanced drill, right? For them, do this, and then for the older, more experienced person, hey, let's do this instead. Or now you have a rebar there. This is what you got to do. So include them. Same training. I'm not saying different things, but kind of like step it up a notch a little bit. And it's nothing against a person that's just barely the new guy. You just got to break it down a little bit for them. And like I said in the beginning, is we break it down together regardless. You begin the training, you go over, this is how you shock, all that stuff, right? Go over those bedrock, right? The foundation of the skill. And then the newer people will concentrate on the foundation, whereas the more experienced people can start building up on that. And I think that works really well.
Do you feel like some instructing fatigue with that, doing that all the time? And if you do, like, what do you do to kind of combat that so you can consistently, deliver basic information?
I personally don't feel fatigue. Because again, the foundation of a home is important. I think the foundation is important, and if we don't use it, we lose that skill, right? So I think me instructing the bare minimum kind of helps me stay on top of it, right? And in my brain, in my mind, like us going through those basic skills with the more experienced people is advantageous because same things happening with them. They're just reviewing what they already know and throwing reps on that.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is you're doing this. Okay, you're blindfolded. Force the door with no sight. And then the newer guys see that, like, can I try that? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. And that's how you get that ball rolling. You want them, they want to do that. They want to train doing the same things, and that makes it a little bit better, a little bit more fun. And to me, that's fun, right? Seeing
that's great, yeah.
that light bulb go on, and like, yeah, I want to try that. And if you fail, you want to try it again? Yeah, absolutely. So, that.
Do you find that you end up getting a pretty regular crew because I know, like, in your organization, people get to kind of pick. Do you find that you get a pretty regular group that works with you because you develop a rapport?
Like I said, I'm in the outer station, just station 3 right now. So I have a partner that's with me every 24.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
Every 6th guy. I don't. You might see that, a little bit more at station 1. I think we don't see it as often as you think, just because we have people picking up shifts first of the month, and it's more of it's a race to see who can get those shifts at first. I don't really see it, but yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Fair
people
enough.
Always picking up each. I mean, you like working with someone, you want to work with that person, you pick their shifts up. I get it.
Yeah, well, that's where I was coming from. Is if like that your work in the way that you develop and teach people, if you see it pay off in that regard, right, where you're getting, people that are coming for more, right, where they.
I think I see it more on the off training things, or people, hey man, what are you doing on Wednesday, the 7th? Nothing. I'm like, hey, do you mind coming in and helping me train on whatever A, B, and C? That's where I see it more. Like, yeah, absolutely, man. I'll come in and or you could come in on when I'm working and we'll work on that. That's where I see it more. Just people reaching out personally to do that a training than on shift. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. Have you seen maybe somebody that wasn't really motivated and didn't really come to you wanting to learn, and then have you found success in being able to develop that person where now they're more into having that self accountability and they're training and they're having fun and they're enjoying it? Have you been able to capture people?
I think so. I've seen that, and then I think what it was. I think it was a growing moment for me in one instance. Is I'm doing all I'm instructing different ways. There's different ways to instruct, and that certain person is not 100%. I could sense they're not 100% there. That it took me going like, you know what? Let's see how this person will do with them, and going over to another instructor or another person, and going like, hey man, this person's struggling this and this. I've tried this. See if you can find a new way, and then instantly get it with someone else. Sometimes it just takes that other someone's vision, someone else's mind to get to someone, right? It may very well be just that connection thing that's for some reason it's not clicking, but someone else in a day makes it click.
That's a
right?
great point, man. Yeah, you might not be able to resonate with every single person, but as an instructor, if you find another person that does connect with the student, you're still being successful, right? Like just because you couldn't make the connection doesn't mean you're a failure. You just found somebody else that will, and you still can find success that way. So that's a really cool point.
It takes like a self recognition of like, all right, you're not going to keep doing the same thing and not getting somewhere, right? That's crazy. Why not see someone else, new eyes on something? It's needed sometimes. So
yeah,
I think that's what works best. Sometimes that's what may work best.
Yeah.
English, secondly, good.
that ESL's paying off.
Third grade English.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm gonna throw it at the chat again. If you got questions for Frankie, put them in here. We're not done, but we're getting into the closing questions, so I like to at least throw that offer out there. Again, if it's something significant that he did for you that you wanted him to share so others would value from it, or just a straight-up question, throw it in our chat. And otherwise, we're going to roll into some of these closing questions. So I think it's my favorite one. And I probably say something different every episode, but this one, I love this one. What's one mistake that you made and learned from?
I think the biggest one and that I've learned from personally is when I first started, I was very afraid of asking questions. And if I didn't get something, I just stay quiet about it. Like maybe someone else will ask a question, or maybe it'll click eventually. And like I said, when I first came in, I was somewhat timid, and realizing that, dude, no one's gonna ask it for you. Just ask the question, or ask for help. I think it's just the asking for help thing. That was a mistake. For me, that was a mistake. Because we go to a class, right? Every time you take a class, one of the first things the instructor says, you have a question, ask it, right? Because someone may have the same question, and we all go like, yeah, whatever. Then you'll sit there and have a question, not ask it because you don't want to sound stupid or silly or whatever. And I think that for me it started when I first started, was a point that, dude, I have a lot of questions. I just don't want to sound dumb. So I refrained from asking it until I'm messing up so much that, all right, I need help. So asking that question is I think it was a mistake, or not asking questions was a mistake for me early on. And learn from it. Now in classes, I won't shut up. I'll be like, what about this? What about that?
Yeah.
Or I see a senior guy or someone else doing something. I'll be like, dude, come here. What the heck was that? Show me, or tell me why, or what were you thinking? Just those questions, and that gets conversation going, and that turns into something else. And then next thing you know, you're doing a little tabletop training on something that wasn't even in the books just because of a question.
I love it. Yeah. Awesome. We got one question here. So it's from Dan Frank. And I guess he's kind of just talking about maybe a story, and I hope that there's some insight on this. So it's he's talking about pulling a blitz line on a garage fire, and you guys like fell down or something a couple times. Is there
in a garage, pulling a blitz on a garage fire? Oh, I think was it. Ask him if it was when it was all iced over.
He can hear, yeah. And Dan, if you can
Oh,
clarify on that.
I think if that's what he's talking about, um, I don't know if that was it. There was one I was teaching the academy. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, Dan, but now it came into my brain, so I'm
He says
talking about it.
yes. He says yes.
Okay, okay. It's a funny story. Um, it was quite comical, like an old cartoon. Iced over, middle of winter. We go to a structure fire. He's the opposite. I'm like, so you want to sit right seat? I'm like, no, man. I was just teaching that day. I'm like, I'm going to structure fire. I'm backstepping. I'm the backstep today, right? Um, pull the blitz line. Go attack the fire. Next thing you know, my butt is sliding down. I'm just falling down and sliding down like an old cartoony slide. I get back up, waddle with over the ice, get that line again, fall again, and go back down. So it was to a point that I think I grabbed the line, wrapped it around me, and then it just crawled all over because of the ice level. And next thing you know, Dan's just turning around like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm legit sliding like a child here. Like I have no control over this. So I think it was it's one of those funny moments that they it just I don't know, man. It was funny. It was just comical, and in my brain, it lasted a solid 5 minutes of just standing up, going back down, standing up, going back down. I think it was like 30 seconds, but it was. I think the look on his face of I think he thought I was purposely doing it. I'm not just sitting there sliding for fun. I'm legit.
I don't know the demographics of my listening body, right? But for those of you that aren't from the Midwest, and Chief Styles would back me on this. He's up in Michigan now. Is a Midwest firefighter? It's like a badge of honor to eat shit on black ice. That's one, and then to have your entire helmet covered in ice.
Oh, yeah.
From like overspray, right? Like those are the two big ones, and once you do it, like you've made it. Like, but I know that not everybody. I don't really know my demographic.
It's a terrible.
But
I will say, in the heat of the moment, it's a terrible feeling. You're just you have no physical control about what's going on.
Yeah, you're done
with your body. You're just going along for the ride. And I mean, that must have been a solid 40 feet of just sliding.
I can't
down.
say I've done that, but yeah,
it was so dumb. But, and like now we laugh about it, but I was getting frustrated. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do. And the thing is, like, in hindsight, I should have just freaking grabbed that nozzle and just let it take me with. No, I put it down and just go with it. No, but
I will say I will take that over like Texas heat any day. Oh,
see, I'm different. I love the heat, man.
Not in bunker gear, man. Oh my
I'm
god,
a folk.
You're insane. Well, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe maybe I'm just some white guy from the Midwest that's never really felt that. But dude, oh my god, I don't even know. Like, I don't know.
I hate the cold.
When you don't completely put the fire out to kind of keep warm, like you don't get that.
Yeah, sure.
In Texas, or something like that. I can't even imagine when it's 100-something degrees out and then no relief.
I get the 110 or 100 something. That's a different story. I get it. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if I'm right or not. Maybe I'm a bitch. I don't know, but
no, that different challenges, different parts of the country.
I know, and that is what's funny about it is you could talk about ice and you could talk about raw water and all that other weird stuff, but somebody that's down in Florida would have no idea raw water they would, but no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, the ice, the
ice,
slip
what the hell's ice? Yeah, you mean in our drink? No,
yeah. No.
Yeah,
all over here.
You've had to have like Public Works come by with a dump truck and just lay salt over an entire operation.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
We get the old coffee cups,
yeah,
and put salt in it and leave it in a rig, just in case you're pumping, you want to lay that all over you because
we got a 5-gallon bucket.
Water, yeah, that will turn to a slippery ice rink and faster than you could blink. So
yeah, nothing's worse probably, I guess, than you fight the fire, you win, and you're gonna pick up, and then you just slip and eat it. And then you get hurt from that. You know what I mean? But
yeah. Oh, yeah. Be careful, kids.
Did you know it gets cold out?
Yeah.
Um, Second closing question. And this one, I encourage you to name names. And the reason I ask this question is it gives, in my opinion, the guest an opportunity to highlight someone that was really important to them early in their career. And this is, who influenced you the most early in your career?
See that in that you sent that out. I kind of glanced at the questions. I wanted to be more candid, but I'm like, that's a tough one. I can't just name one person. I think at depending on where I was in the stage of the fire service, it was more than one person that had that effect or that that what was the question, that some of that sense of the fire service, how it works or what, something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's
Um,
later on. But yeah, that doesn't have to be
or
someone you
who
know.
influenced my career, right?
Yeah.
I think in the beginning it started with those Six Flags people, that some people like Mike Wolchess or Adam Slade, Brad Edwards, a whole bunch of the Waukegan guys, Gurnee guys. I mean, you name it. It was like a whole bunch of departments coming in and working together in first aid and helping people at Six Flags. And they kind of like got me into it. Hey, why don't you go to the fire service or to the fire academy, or how do you like EMT class? Because what people don't know is I started as a lifeguard, and I just happened to one day walk into the first aid for a band-aid or something silly like that, and I started getting along with the guys, and it turned to a point that I would just come in during my breaks and just sit down and talk to them. And then next thing you know, it's like, hey, the EMT class is starting, in 2 months. You look like you like it. You're already a lifeguard.
Yeah.
And the biggest, it's the same thing, fake news. It wasn't, but at least the CPR was similar. And that's that's the initial spark and what I needed coming into Antioch. You got like I said, you got yourself, Elkin, Orion. Chief Nelson was huge on that too. Like that go get, you're messed up now, but you're gonna get it next time. You're gonna get it next time. Chief Taylor, Chief Duchesne, keep everyone, man. Like it's my fellow lieutenants. Even now, they're the ones that are pushing me to be better, right? Want to be better, and the old saying, sharpen, that iron sharpens iron. I think that's what we're doing right now. Is just making each other better. So I can't just pinpoint it to one person. I think the fire service or our firefighter in itself is an accumulation of everyone's ideas, good and bad, right? Because you're gonna reflect and like I loved how that person did this, didn't like how they did that. So you're gonna take the positive, remember the negative, so you don't repeat that process. So you're a byproduct of many.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever lost your passion for the fire service? If you did, how'd you get it back, and what keeps you passionate?
So I don't think I've lost it at any time. I have gotten what I wanted, like more, for lack of a better way, more complacent. I like taking classes and stuff. There was a point that there was a gap that I didn't take classes, and I think it's just because I was focusing on bettering myself on the job. But then it took someone sitting me down or just talking like regular conversation, and then them saying like, to get better at the job is to learn new, like to take classes to get better at the job. Like I know, but like, dude, no, there's no buts. It's that simple. So I'm like, yeah, you're right. What was it? What was I even, like what was I trying to do? So back at it. So never lost the passion, just more of a lack of a period of not taking classes. And I'm not saying it was like 2-3 years or a year. It was like a couple months thing, but there's always free classes you could take, and or even if it's just like on Target Solutions when on a Sunday that you're bored, and guess what? There's a nice little course you can sit there and learn something new on, or
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like that.
dude. There's resources everywhere
Mm-hmm.
right now. It's crazy how much stuff is out there, podcasts. But like some of the articles that are coming out now in fire engineering. Not that they were bad before, but there's a lot of great stuff that's been coming from that lately. That's a lot more readable, I think. Like I'm again not knocking what it was before, because fire engineering has always been great, and reading those magazines. But I think what I've noticed lately in reading them is they're a little less wordy, and it's a little more to the point now. So you can sit and you can read an article, and when you're
And they got pictures.
Yeah,
Going
but
through high
like
school.
seriously, that like for
Yeah.
firemen, like readability is important, and
Hmm.
but I digress. There's
And
there's a
then
lot
and
of
a
great
nice little
resources.
yeah, and a nice little like thing that I've been doing with those. Yeah, I'm pointing with a pen. The nice little thing I've been doing with those is those pictures. I actually like to print them out and do like a quick drill in the morning with that picture. I'm like, hey man, take a look at this. And
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, like seriously, just look at the picture. What do you think? And they're like, oh shoot, I never saw how to the door opening the door in the search could tell you what direction you're going. Yeah, that's simple, and it just takes like a 2 minute, a minute of looking at that page, and then 5 minutes of talking about it. Boom,
yeah,
you got a 5 minute quick draw right there, just tabletop.
yeah. And somebody goes, huh, all right,
Yeah.
and then they'll maybe hopefully they'll remember that when they're inside.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about free training, it's not free, but or local training. I am going to plug it. Not that I'm like sponsored by them, but I was. I'm going to be attending this. It's in Huntley on February 1st. So the Al Schlick Memorial Training Day, and there's a bunch of speakers. So it's all classroom. However, there's some great people coming in. Richie Stack's going to be there. Eric Wheaton's going to be there. The Elkhart Brass guys are going to be there. So I think it was $30. They limited it to 150 seats, but I want to say there's still probably 30 or 40 seats left over. So depending on when you're listening to this, if you're live, that's right now, obviously later. And I've posted a couple times on my page, so that's local. And I'm going to try to do a better job of using my page to put that stuff out for people as best I can, because like Frankie said, there's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that's out there that you can take that's either really cheap or free. And we're in a really good era for training in the fire service. So,
Mm-hmm.
and on the topic of potentially losing your passion or something like that, training's the way most people get right back into that. So if you're feeling like you're in a low, go take a
Nothing
class.
better. Yeah, nothing better to get you back out. Your mood up than a structure fire. And if you don't get a structure fire, guess what? Go to a burn down. Go to a training fire.
Yes. Yeah. And you can sit and talk to people, but sometimes like us talking shop is positive. There's other guys when you talk like this, it becomes all red shift and put the dishes away or something, and then that's not really going to help you get out of your thing. But
It's always
um,
red.
it's always red shift.
Yes.
I just say that because I'm a gold shifter.
I'm
It's like
joking, red shift.
I know, me too. Like red shift's not that bad, but I'm a gold shifter. That's how we're supposed to. Red shift's lazy and black shift's the complainers. Isn't that how?
I haven't heard that one, but okay.
No, that's the
Write it down.
joke, right? And then if you were on black shift, then
Yeah, that's right.
red shift's the complainers and gold shift's lazy.
Oh
It's
man.
never ending. So whether you've met them and know them personally or alive or dead, doesn't matter. If you were going to give someone that knows nothing about the fire service, right? You're going to pair them up with one person to give them the tour so they get it all and they understand what the fire service is supposed to be about. Who are you going to put that person with?
Ooh, that's tough. Tommy Garrett. I'm just kidding.
You want to know how big my balls are?
Oh man. That's a tough. I didn't even see that one in the end, by the way. Um, who's that? Who's that Navy guy? Have you seen this speech? About and I like it because I don't want to say it's like of the fire service, but it pertains to it. He talks about making your bed every morning, so on and so forth.
Yes.
And that's if you do that, you accomplish one task, you accomplish something. Oh man, I can't think of the name. Someone in the chat's gonna know it. Probably Frank. He's smart on that stuff.
I should know that. And he did a keynote.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up too. Anyways, while you guys look it up, when I listen to that, I think it, like you say, it kind of like it inspired you in a way, and that in essence wasn't 100%. Not all he talked about was about the fire service, but it was that attitude that we should have for the fire service is that willingness to learn, that drive, that accomplish goals and set goals for yourself and go from there. I think that that'd be someone really cool to get you going from there. And then,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna.
oh, you're good.
I'm gonna wake
You're
up in the middle of the night and know the name, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean,
Sorry, I stink of that. Secret of Success, I think it was.
Oh, I want to say he was he was a fire chief, right?
Fire chief, Navy.
But he was formerly military. I thought
Navy SEAL William McRaven, son.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm blending things
together. I don't know. I'm looking at. I just quick Google, but it was cool, and I think that like inspiration to set goals, set tasks, and that kind of like a little thing that I like doing is in the beginning of the year, I'll like set goals for myself for this year, and then 3 years, and then 5 years, and come back to it every year and see where I got and see if I'm hitting those goals or not. And I took it from that.
Oh yeah, video. If you're not setting goals like that, you're not growing. Like it's that simple, right? Like at the end of the day, you gotta sit down, you gotta put yourself into one of those plans. Give yourself a 5-year, give yourself a 10-year, whatever it might be, and then have your yearly goals and chunk it. Yeah, that's to me that's like the way to succeed. I completely agree.
Yep, and it just helps self-reflect, right? And at the end of the year or the start of the new year, you're like, all right, I'm where I wanted to be, but I could be better, or like, dude, I'm lacking. And it could be that, something may happen in your life. You may have a kid or whatever, and that's so understandable. But it kind of gives you a gauge of where you're at. You don't. This is a great quote I heard. Is like, you don't want to be a 1-year fireman for 20 years, right? You wanna keep learning, keep going. Don't be that 1-year fireman for 20 years. Make yourself better throughout the 20. So take classes,
dude. I got all 30 years of my career already planned out.
That's awesome.
Whether I stick to it, I manufactured some flexibility, but for the most part, and it's one of the seven habits of highly successful people, or something like that, which is another book, which is a pretty good one if you ever wanted to read it. But one of them was begin with the end in mind.
Is it a podcast or not?
It's an audiobook. You can get an audiobook. Yeah.
Audiobook.
Dude, I knew what you meant. I got you. Come on.
You're on it.
I'm on it, man.
Hell yeah.
Well, shit, this is the last one. I can't think of anything else. I was going to wing it and add some more things to your way, but I'm drawing a blank. So let's just end on the best question ever, which, see, I already did it. I already flipped it around. But what's the best part about the job?
Oh, structure fires. Structure fires is great. I think, to me, it's a job that you're always learning in. That it's always going to keep you on your toes, and in my mind, again, the morbid way my brain works is that it's a job that can kill you or really hurt you. So in turn, that makes you want to stay on top of your stuff. And if you want to stay on top of your stuff, you're driven. You're always wanting to learn some more. And then I'm a kind of person, I like learning a lot of new things. Like right now, for some reason, I wanted to learn chess, and I'm on a chess kick. So I started learning chess and all that. But it's the only job that, no matter what, I feel that I could always learn something new, and have my brain go, what the, that's awesome, or brain blown moment every time that I learn it. So it's something that I love about it. Just, it never gets old, for lack of better words, never gets old.
Love it.
And it's always fun going into work. It's always fun hanging out with your brothers and sisters, your friends, right? Your family, your second family. And I think that's cool. Big family guy, and coming in and seeing your family grow and become better versions of themselves, and being there for them in their good and bad times. I think that's also a really cool moment. You build relationships that I don't think, besides the military, you can really build anywhere else. So, at least in my mind. And that's what I love about it.
I love it.
And yeah, structure fires. Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah, but.
Nah.
Well, Frankie, I appreciate you coming on. Obviously,
Absolutely.
it's a fun chat, but still,
Hmm.
really good having you on, and I really appreciate it. That's going to make 29 episodes. So thanks again. Anything else you wanted to close with, or are you?
I just want to, whoever's watching, thanks if you had a part of me being here where I'm at right now. I just want to send out, thank you guys. I I want you guys gave me everything. My organization, the people that have taught me, old places I've worked at. You you gave me my passion and gave me that drive. And it sounds corny and cheesy, but thanks and thanks for everyone that's working with me now and works with me and thanks for making me better and so on and so forth. So just a big old thanks. And
Thanks,
thanks for having me.
dude. Thanks
It
for
was
kicking off 2024, man.
yeah, thanks for thinking of me and it was fun.
Yeah, yeah. We'll chat again. Obviously, soon. So that's it for us. So thanks everyone, and have a great evening. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, then it might not be evening, but you know the drill. So we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Buenas noches.